BodyBags, where horror lies.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe week 504 here at BodyBags. I am your regular Wednesday evening host. Have been for like the last 10 years or so, it feels like, but in a good way, in a very good way. Got another new film here this week. Compliments of my kids, my birthday, a pile of stuff. And I figured best way to work through some of it is right here at BodyBags. So what we got today is Oliver Parks, The Offering. You might have seen this on the shelf at Walmart. It's a 22 film. I do believe it's his first full feature. And I will say, in light of what I'm probably going to say, there's not a lot of weaknesses in this film. It's interesting. It's interesting. Before I get into this anymore, though, if you are a lover of Jaws and everything Jaws, I was recently on a podcast with the Graveyard Shift guys. That link is down below, right on the top of the pile of links. If you're curious about that, me and my son were on there together with Glenn and Will. It was great. Anything and everything Jaws. The composer on The Offering, a season one, man, going all the way back to DEFCON 4, to Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Invaders from Mars, the first two Hellraiser films, Tales from the Hood, even The Fly 2, I think. And the cinematographer here, pretty seasoned as well, returned to House on Haunted Hill, Starship Troopers 3, Boogeyman 3, Messengers 2, Wrong Turn 3, and the new Hellboy movie from 19. So, I mean, and, you know, so there's some good people here working, crafting this film that just is a couple names. And I think I said this, but Oliver Park, pretty sure this is his first time out, his first feature film. It is interesting. Think Autopsy of Jane Doe. This is a movie that mostly resides within a morgue. But this is deeply entrenched in Hasidic Jewish folklore, or kind of like a folk tale. And so in terms of how bodies are dealt with, you know, this is really through the lens of, through the Hasidic Judaism, which I found the most intriguing part of the entire movie for me. I wanted more of it. I can understand why you only go so far. But I thought it was, for at least the first 3/4 of the film, I thought it went a long distance in terms of helping the story, the narrative just kind of, you know, move its way through. Really what you have here is a demon at the center of the story who is taking little girls, and this that's part of it. And then you've got Arthur and Claire, newly married, I think, with a daughter on the way, who is sort of coming home. Well, sort of, you know, he is the parable of the you know, the son who returns home, right? He's sort of estranged from his dad, and the story kind of gets into it a little bit, and why that is. So the relationship with his dad, Saul, is pretty strained, to say the least. But he's sort of conniving. The son is. He has sort of put the, without his dad knowing, put the morgue up in terms, because he's, for collateral, because he's trying to refinance his house, I believe, if I remember right. And so he's sort of kind of got some things going on he really ought not to have going on, because he really hasn't got his dad's blessing for any of this. And the guy, Hamish, who works with his dad, he catches on to this quickly. And so he's the one who sort of airs out this dirty laundry for the dad to see. And that, of course, creates some issues immediately. The guy, this guy who has seemingly killed himself, but he's done so in order to trap a demon within him. He's wearing this sort of amulet kind of thing. He has stuck this, I think it's a ritualistic type of knife, into him after he's been possessed, sort of the opening scene of the movie. And unbeknownst to the son, who has been, sort of outside now of the Jewish faith in the sense that he's not there on the ground each and every day, he's not aware, and he is given, he is asked to basically deal with this body. Dad is and his assistant are doing something, and so the son, because he's knows enough about this craft, he can do what he needs to do, but he removes the knife from the body, and he also removes the amulet. And these are things I think you are not supposed to do, and ultimately it unleashes this demon that then begins to run amok through the house, which is a really awesome, the interiors are awesome, man. They really did a good job just creating atmosphere and whatnot. And so the demon itself is pretty scary. There's some scenes in there that are pretty frighteningly done well. But about 3/4 of the way in, it starts to feel cluttered, in the sense that everything that seemed to go really well from the beginning of the film, setting itself up, to about 3/4 of the way in, it just seemingly feels like it starts to lose itself towards the very end and its resolution, if that makes sense. So I would say it's one of those films, if it's still on the Walmart shelf, it is definitely worth probably the $10-12 that you might pay for it, I would imagine. It's worth it for some really cool atmospherics. It's worth it because you're dealing with something that you don't see every day, and that is a film that is steeped in Hasidic Judaism, which sort of adds a nice little layer to a type of story that we have seen before. Bloody Disgusting called it an edge of your seat dread and scares that would make James Wan jump. That's being really nice, but there are some good scenes in here for sure. Unfortunately, I found myself, I'm only at the 7-minute mark. Let me just read the synopsis for you. In the wake of a young Jewish girl's disappearance, the son of a Hasidic funeral director returns home with his pregnant wife in hopes of reconciling with his father. Little do they know that directly beneath them in the family morgue, an ancient evil with sinister plans for the unborn child lurks inside a mysterious corpse. And that's the backside. Not a bad little synopsis, I guess. Not a bad one. Who put this out? Decal. Distributed it. One of the first undeniably great horror films of 2023, according to IndieWire. I say there's a lot going. This movie has a lot going for itself. It really does. I just wish the last quarter didn't sort of unravel the way it did. It wasn't as tight. And the final moment of the film is sort of, yeah, I guess you should have saw that coming. But again, there's a lot to check out. So I would say, first and foremost, if you can see it for free, definitely it's worth giving it at least a one-time watch. If you happen to be in Walmart and just looking to drop $10 on something, you probably could drop it on worse things than this, for sure. I'm very thankful my kids picked it up for me. I think mostly because of the Hasidic Jewish layer of the film that it's wrapped in. You don't see that every day, and so I will give it a rewatch for sure. And I don't know, in terms of extras or anything, I don't think there's anything really on here. Well, there is the trailer, I guess. So anyways, check it out, man. Check it out. Anything new that we're not used to seeing is worth checking out, right? The Offering from Oliver Park, 22 film here on BodyBags. Happy Wednesday, as the month of June sort of rolls towards its end. And then July is upon us. As always, we end these things off with Go Bills.